The sky burned that night. A bright light fell from the stars, like a second sun crashing to Earth. People thought it was a meteor. Some took pictures. Some made wishes. But this was no shooting star. It was a ship. And inside that broken ship was her. She was a warrior. Not from Earth. Not from any world humans knew. Her armor was dark silver, now cracked and bleeding strange blue light. Her eyes were shut. Her body still. Smoke rose from her shoulder. She had fought many wars, killed many enemies, lost many friends. Now she was tired. Let this be the end, she whispered in her mind. She closed her eyes. She waited for death. Miles away, in a small-town hospital, Alex Morgan, a young doctor, sat at his desk. He had just finished a long shift. The hospital was quiet now. His phone buzzed. News alert. Object crashes in local forest. Fire crews sent. Possible meteorite. Alex stared at the screen. His heart felt strange. He stood up. Something inside him said, "Go. Now." He drove fast. Trees passed like shadows. Smoke rose in the night sky. As he reached the forest, he saw flames, broken trees, and a strange round shape on the ground. A small crater. A crashed pod. Alex stepped closer. And then he saw her. She lay in the middle of fire and metal. Not human. Not machine. Tall. Thin. Skin like pale silver. Hair like black silk. Her body was full of cuts. Her breathing was weak. Her armor blinked with dying lights. Alex's hands shook. But he didn't run. He knelt beside her. Pressed 2 fingers to her neck. Still alive. Barely. He whispered, "What the hell are you?" She didn't answer. Alex didn't care anymore. He took off his jacket, wrapped it around her, and lifted her into his arms. She was heavier than she looked. The ship made strange noises, beeps, sparks, hisses. It might explode. He ran. Back at his house, he placed her gently on his bed. She looked peaceful now, like a sleeping ghost. Alex cleaned her wounds. Her blood was blue, warm, alive. "I must be going crazy," he whispered. He looked at her face. She looked strong even while sleeping. Scars across her cheek. A soldier's face. He stayed awake, watching her breathe. Hours passed. Then she moved. Her fingers twitched. Her chest rose faster. Her eyes opened. Glowing purple eyes. Sharp, cold, scared. She sat up in one motion and grabbed his throat. Alex gasped. "Wait, you're safe." Her voice was like a storm. "Where am I?" "Earth," he choked. "You're on Earth." She looked around, confused, breathing fast. Then she asked, "What planet is this?" "Earth," he repeated. "You crashed. I saved you." She stared at him. Her grip loosened. Alex coughed. "I'm not your enemy." Her eyes blinked. Her body swayed. She almost fell weak from blood loss. Alex caught her before she hit the floor. "Easy," he said. "You're still healing." She didn't speak, but her eyes said it all. She didn't understand this world. She didn't understand him. But for the first time in years, someone had saved her. Outside, the stars kept shining. But high above, in the dark sky, something moved. A small ship, watching, waiting. He didn't sleep that night. Alex sat on the old chair beside his bed, watching the alien woman rest. Her breathing was slow like waves. Sometimes her body twitched, as if she was reliving something terrible. He wanted to help her, but what could he do? He didn't even know her name. The sun rose quietly outside the window. Birds sang. Cars passed. The world moved on, unaware that something not from Earth lay inside a small bedroom on the second floor of a dusty house. She opened her eyes just after dawn. For a moment, she looked calm. Then she sat up sharply, breathing fast, eyes wild. "Where is my weapon?" she asked, voice hard. Alex raised his hands. "I don't have it. You were hurt. I brought you here." She scanned the room. Her body was weak, but her posture was still that of a warrior. Alert. Ready. "You are not military," she said. "No. I'm a doctor. My name is Alex." She stared at him for a long time. "You're human." "Yes," he said carefully. "And you're not." She didn't answer. Her fingers touched the bandage on her arm. "You patched me." "I had to. You were dying." "Why?" He looked confused. "Because that's what people do. They help." "No," she said coldly. "People take. People kill. That's the rule." Alex smiled a little. "Maybe that's true where you're from. But not here." She looked away, thinking. Her voice dropped. "Then your world is weak." He didn't argue. Instead, he stood up and brought her water. She took the glass slowly, watched him, then drank. Her face changed slightly, something between relief and pain. "I still don't know your name," he said. She looked at him. Something in her eyes flickered. "I don't have one anymore," she said. "Everyone has a name. Not after exile." Alex stepped closer. "Exile?" She didn't answer. She pulled the blanket tighter around her armor. "Your people will come looking for you," he said. "They'll come to kill me," she replied simply. "Not rescue." "Why?" "Because I didn't kill a child." Alex froze. His chest tightened. She said it like it was normal, like it was just another mission. "I refused a command," she added. "My empire doesn't accept weakness." He sat down again, slowly. "So, you ran." "I ran," she whispered. "They followed." It crashed. "Now I wait." Alex looked at her. Really looked. She wasn't just some space soldier. She was someone who had made a choice to show mercy. And now she was paying for it with her life. "You're safe here," he said. She shook her head. "There is no safety. Not for me." Suddenly, loud knocking echoed from downstairs. She tensed. So did Alex. He went to the window. A delivery man stood outside the gate. "Relax. Just a package," he said with a smile. She didn't relax. "You can't stay in this room forever," Alex said after a while. "You need food. You need air." "I need a ship," she replied. "Well, I can't build one of those," he joked. She didn't laugh. He walked to the table and placed a small loaf of bread and a few apples. She looked at them with suspicion, then slowly reached for the bread and took a bite. Her eyes widened. "What is this?" "Just bread. It tastes soft." Alex chuckled. "You've never had bread?" "I've eaten fuel paste, protein bars, ration cubes. Nothing like this." He watched her eat in silence. She didn't thank him, but she didn't need to. The way she slowed down, the way her eyes softened just a little, it was enough. Later that day, Alex gave her a hoodie to wear over her cracked armor. She stepped outside into the backyard with slow, careful steps. She looked up. The sky was blue. The wind was soft. Leaves danced in the air. "It's quiet," she said. "Too quiet?" he asked. "No," she whispered. "Just unfamiliar." She sat on the grass, touched the dirt, stared at the clouds like they were alien. Alex sat next to her. "Do you have a name for your world?" he asked. "Valerian. Beautiful name." "It was," she said. "Before the wars." They sat without speaking for a long time. Then she asked something he didn't expect. "Why did you really help me?" He thought for a moment. "Because you were alive. Because you looked lost. Because someone should have helped you a long time ago." She nodded slightly, not a full nod, but something close to acceptance. That night, as she sat near the window, watching the stars, a dark shape moved across the sky. She saw it. A small black dot just for a second. No light, no sound. She closed her eyes. "They've found me," she whispered. But she didn't wake Alex. Not yet. The stars looked peaceful that night. But peace is a lie in her world. She stood at the window, hood pulled over her head, watching the sky. The human beside her, Alex, was asleep on the couch, one arm hanging off the side, his breath slow and deep. She listened to the silence of Earth. No alarms, no soldiers, no screaming. It was the kind of silence her people feared. Her name was forgotten, burned away by war and shame. But she remembered what she was. A soldier, trained to obey, until the moment she didn't. And now, They were coming. The flash across the stars had been quick. Most humans would miss it, but not her. That wasn't a shooting star. It was a scout. One of theirs. Black metal. Silent engines. Built to find and erase. They knew she was alive. The next morning, she acted like nothing had changed. Alex poured cereal into a bowl and handed it to her like it was the most normal thing in the world. "You sleep okay?" he asked. "No," she said. He gave her a small smile. "Welcome to Earth." She didn't smile back, but she took the cereal, and she ate it. The crunch, the sweetness, it was strange, unnecessary, but not unpleasant. Alex was wearing the same tired hoodie as yesterday. His hair was messy. He looked harmless. She kept wondering why someone so soft had risked his life for her. "Do all humans live alone like you?" she asked. He shook his head. "Not really. I just don't like noise. That's rare. My kind fears silence." Alex looked at her. "You don't seem afraid of anything." She didn't answer. Later that afternoon, she walked through the woods with him. He said it was fresh air. She called it exposure. But she went anyway. Birds flew between the trees. Wind whispered through the leaves. She scanned every shadow, every sound. Alex knelt to take a photo of a squirrel. He laughed softly. She stared at the animal like it was a puzzle. "That's a squirrel," he said. "It's harmless." She looked at him. "So were we. Once." That night, the signal came. She felt it before she heard it. A low hum in her bones. A sharp chill behind her eyes. She stood still in the hallway, listening to nothing, but knowing it was there. The hunter ship had arrived. Alex was brushing his teeth when she burst into the bathroom. "Lights off," she said quickly. "Now." "What? Why? Now?" He obeyed. The house went dark. She pressed her back to the wall, eyes glowing faintly. Outside, in the sky, black clouds moved unnaturally. Not weather, metal. Watching, waiting. Alex peeked through the blinds. "What the hell is that?" he whispered. She didn't look. "A death machine." His throat went dry. "For you, and anyone near me." He turned to her. "Then we run." She shook her head. "We hide. Running will only lead them to more people. More deaths." He stared at her. "You're not like them anymore, are you?" "I never was," she whispered. The ship passed without landing. Not yet. It was scanning, measuring, confirming. Tomorrow it would send the first drone. She knew the pattern. It was the same on every planet her empire cleansed. Step 1, scan. Step 2, kill. She looked at Alex. He was afraid, but he stayed calm. She had known trained warriors who ran when the sky turned black. But this human doctor just nodded and began moving furniture to block the windows. She watched him in silence. He was soft, but he stood strong. Her kind had a word for that. Unbreakable. Midnight. The living room was dark. She sat on the floor, legs crossed, cleaning the small blade she'd hidden in her armor. Alex sat across from her, holding a flashlight under his chin like a campfire. "So, what happens if they find us?" he asked. "I die." He nodded. "And me? They'll erase your body. And memory." He blinked. "Okay, that's a very honest." "I don't lie," she said. "Good," he smiled. "Because I don't run." She looked up. His voice had no fear. That made her feel something strange. Something forgotten. Trust. Not in herself. In him. Outside. In the forest. Something landed without a sound. It had no eyes. No face. Only blades and orders. The first drone had come. And it had her scent. Rain began to fall. Not heavy, just soft drops tapping against the windows. She sat alone in Alex's room, staring at a small candle he had lit. She didn't understand why humans used fire when they had electricity. He said it helped people feel calm. That word didn't exist in her language. She held the knife in her hand. Clean, balanced, familiar. The candle's flame danced in her eyes, and for the first time, a memory broke through the walls in her mind. A child's scream, a battlefield, blood not blue like hers but red. Human. She squeezed her eyes shut, but the sound stayed. Downstairs, Alex was reading files on his laptop. Military reports. Strange objects caught on radar last night. Government silence. He knew they were here. He just didn't know how long he had before they knocked on his door. Footsteps came down the stairs. She entered the room slowly. No armor now. Just one of his oversized jackets covering her scarred body. She moved like a shadow. "You don't sleep," he said. "Sleep brings back war," she replied. Alex looked at her. "You want to talk about it?" "No." But she sat anyway. She looked at the bookshelf. One title caught her eye, History of War. "Your people write books about it," she said. "We write books about everything," Alex replied. She nodded slowly. "You want to remember. We also want to learn. That's rare." He looked at her gently. "What was your war like?" She didn't answer right away. She touched the scar under her eye. "My first mission. I was 13. She began, her voice almost mechanical. "They put a weapon in my hand and called it honor." Alex's face hardened. "They said feeling pain was weakness. Showing mercy was treason." Her fingers trembled slightly. "One day we landed on a rebel moon. My unit raided a home. There was a child. Scared. Hiding. Holding a rock like it could stop a soldier." Alex said nothing. He just listened. "I aimed. My finger was ready. But the child cried." Her voice dropped. "Just one sound. That's all it took." She stopped speaking. Her eyes were empty. Alex leaned forward. "You didn't shoot." "No. I dropped my weapon. I picked up the child. I told him to run. And they saw." She nodded. "My commander called me broken. My team turned on me. They called in an airstrike on the house." Her jaw tightened. "They buried me with the rebels. They thought I was dead." "And you survived," Alex said softly. She met his eyes. "I crawled out of the rubble and ran. That was the last day I belonged to anyone." Silence filled the room. Only the sound of rain tapping the windows. "I don't want to fight anymore," she whispered. Alex nodded. "Then don't." "I don't have a choice." "You do now." She looked away. "You don't understand. Your world is soft. Beautiful. But mine, my past, it follows." He stood up and walked over to her. "You're not your past," he said. "You're the choice you made." She looked up. Slowly. "The choice to save a child? That's what matters." Her lips parted slightly, like she might say something back. But before she could, the sound came. Buzzing. Low. Mechanical. Her head snapped toward the window. Alex ran to the back door. The trees were shaking, but there was no wind. Then he saw it. A black drone. Floating just above the ground. No wings. No eyes. Just a round shape with sharp edges. She was already on her feet. "They've sent a hunter," she said. Alex's heart pounded. "Can it see us?" "Yes, but not clearly." He pulled her toward the basement. She stopped him. "No. We fight. We don't stand a chance." She turned, eyes glowing faintly now. "I'm not human. Let me be what I was made to be." Alex stared at her. Then, with a nod, opened the cabinet and handed her a small steel hammer. She took it, tested the weight. "It will do." She opened the door and stepped outside into the rain. The drone moved fast, but so did she. She rolled under its first strike, thin lasers slicing through the air. She leaped, landed on its back, slammed the hammer down once, twice until its core cracked. Sparks flew, fell to the ground, twitching, dying. She stepped back, breathing hard. Alex ran to her. "You okay?" She didn't answer. She looked at the broken drone. Rain hitting her face. "They won't stop," she said. Alex looked at the wreck. "Then neither will we." She turned to him, soaked in rain, heart pounding. And for the first time, she gave him a name. "I was called Sarah." He smiled. "Sarah, it suits you." Above them, in orbit, the hunter ship received a signal. Unit lost. Target confirmed. New orders were given. Earth was now a battlefield, and humanity had just become a problem. The broken drone lay on the floor of Alex's garage. Its wires sparked faintly. Black fluid leaked from its core. It no longer moved, but Sarah stared at it like it might rise again. She didn't speak for a long time. Neither did Alex. He watched her carefully. Something in her had changed since she destroyed it. Her hands shook, just a little. Her jaw clenched. This wasn't fear. It was memory. "I've destroyed thousands like it," she said at last. Alex didn't reply. She looked up. "But this time, I wasn't told to." He stepped closer. "You made the choice." She nodded once, slowly. "It feels different." That night, Alex uploaded fake footage to a weather drone site, blaming the explosion on lightning. It wouldn't fool everyone, but it might buy them time. Sarah slept with one eye open, and a hammer beside her bed. The next morning, a black SUV parked outside the clinic where Alex worked. Two men in gray suits stepped out. Their eyes were cold, their smiles too sharp. They said they were from the Meteorological Defense Office. Alex had never heard of that department. He played dumb. He told them he was home all night. He didn't see any crash. No strange lights. No noise. They stared too long. Took too many notes. One of them leaned close and said, "If you see anything unusual, you call us first, not the press." Alex nodded and shut the door. He knew what that meant. They were watching. He returned home in the rain, his hands tight on the steering wheel. When he stepped inside, Sarah was waiting. "They came," she said. "You saw." "I listened." Alex sat down, wet and tired. "They're not here to help." "No," she said. "They want me." Alex looked at her. "We need to leave." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Running didn't work for me before." "Then we don't run," he said. "We disappear." She tilted her head. "You have a plan?" He gave a weak smile. "Sort of. My brother works for someone who knows how to stay off the grid." "Criminals." "Smarter than criminals," he said. "Paranoid engineers." She blinked. "That will do." They packed quickly. Food, water, medical kit, a change of clothes for each. Sarah kept the drone core. She wanted to study it later. "I can use it to track their signal," she said. They left just before sunset. The town felt different. Too many eyes in windows. Too many parked cars with no drivers inside. Alex drove toward the hills. The old roads curved through trees like snake paths. Sarah kept her hand near the hammer. The world felt like it was watching. Halfway up the mountain, they stopped at a gas station. Empty. Closed early. Alex went behind the building to use the satellite phone. He dialed a private number. "It's me," he whispered. "We need help, and we need to disappear." The voice on the other side was quiet, then said, "You're already burned. They know. You need to move now." Click. Alex returned to the car. Sarah wasn't in the passenger seat. His stomach dropped. He looked around, nothing. Then a sound came from the woods. He ran. Branches hit his face. His breath turned sharp. He followed the faint light of her eyes. Then he saw her. She stood in front of a figure on the ground. A man tied to a tree, beaten, blood on his lip, eyes wide. "He was tracking us," Sarah said calmly. Alex bent down. The man had military boots. Government ID. "I saw him in the SUV," Alex whispered. "One of the fake meteor guys." Sarah looked at him. "They don't trust you anymore." "Then why send just one?" She turned her gaze back to the man. "They didn't," she said. "He pressed a beacon." Alex's heart stopped. "He called them. They'll be here in minutes." They heard the sound then, distant but growing. Helicopter blades. They ran. Back to the car. Wheels screamed against the road. Sarah guided him now, telling him where to turn, which paths to take. She remembered the escape routes from years of training. But Earth's maps were not her own. Soon, the road ended. A cliff ahead. Trees behind. A spotlight from the sky above. "We're trapped," Alex said. Sarah stepped out of the car. She looked up into the light. Her armor shimmered beneath the hoodie. She stood tall, unafraid. Alex followed her out. Above them, the helicopter hovered, silent now. watching, waiting. Then a voice came from a loudspeaker. Turn over the asset. Sarah raised her hands. I'm not your asset, she said coldly. I'm your warning. No one spoke. Then the spotlight moved, slowly, and pointed at Alex. This man has aided a hostile, the voice said. He will be taken. Sarah didn't move. Alex looked at her. They'll kill you, he said. She looked back. They'll kill us. The light flickered. And then, without a word, Sarah pulled something from her sleeve. A stolen drone core. Modified. She pressed a small switch. The helicopter's light turned red. It began to spin, erratic, unstable. They had seconds. She grabbed Alex's hand. And they ran, again, into the dark trees, with the sound of spinning blades behind them. Far away, someone watched it all through a screen. A general. Human. He leaned back in his chair. She's learning, he said. Should we stop her? Someone asked. The general smiled. No, he said. Let her think she's winning. The cave was cold, dark, quiet. They had been hiding there for 3 days. Sarah stood near the entrance, staring into the mist that rolled over the hills. The earth felt like it was holding its breath. Alex sat deeper inside the cave, wrapping his jacket tighter. He hadn't shaved in days. Dirt covered his shoes. His hands trembled when he touched the bandage on his ribs. He remembered the sound of the helicopter falling, the way the forest had burned around them, the smell of metal and smoke. He remembered how she had pulled him out of the wreckage. Without her, he would be dead. He knew that now. Sarah hadn't spoken much since the escape, but her hands never stopped moving. She had opened the damaged drone core and laid its parts across a flat rock. Tiny chips, glowing wires, pulsing lights that seemed alive. She didn't need tools. Her fingers were fast, focused. Alex watched from a distance. What are you building? He asked quietly. She didn't look up. A message. To who? To them, she said. To everyone. He moved closer. You want to tell your people where you are? No, she said. I want to tell them I'm not afraid. Alex looked at the blinking metal in her hands. They'll come. They already have, she said. But now, we call them to us. He swallowed. That doesn't sound like a great idea. She looked up at him, finally. They won't stop unless we make them. Her voice was calm, flat, but something deeper was behind it. Fire. That night, as Alex tried to sleep against the wall of the cave, Sarah sat outside under the stars. She whispered in her own language, words he couldn't understand. But he watched her lips move. He knew what it was. Prayer. Or maybe a memory. The next morning, they moved. Sarah had finished the device. It looked like a sphere. Metallic, cracked, but pulsing with light. Like a dying heart. She carried it like it weighed nothing. We find a signal tower, she said. One of your kind's satellites. Alex frowned. You want to send a signal into space using Earth tech? She nodded. If I tune this to the right frequency, it will hit their field net. Every ship in orbit will hear me. And what will you say? Her eyes narrowed. I'll say, I'm still alive. And I'm done hiding. They reached the tower at dusk. It stood tall on a lonely hill, fenced off, empty, no guards, too quiet. Sarah walked ahead. Alex stayed behind, hand near his belt, where he now carried a flare gun. It was useless against ships, but it made him feel less helpless. As Sarah approached the gate, the wind changed. So did the silence. Something was waiting. A single figure stepped out from behind the base of the tower. Human, wearing military boots, but no weapon, just a calm smile. Dr. Morgan, the man said, you've caused quite the mess. Alex raised the flare gun. The man didn't flinch. We don't want her dead, he said. We want to study her. Sarah stepped between them. Lies. The man looked at her, still smiling. We've known about your kind for years. Crashes, signals, pieces of metal, but never a living one. He stepped forward. You can't win. You think they'll listen to your message? They don't care. You're already marked. Your only use is here, on our tables. Alex shouted, "Stop!" But the man was already pulling a device from his coat. Sarah moved before the man could blink. One hit. His body dropped. Alex stared. She gave him a chance, he whispered to himself. Inside the tower, the walls buzzed with quiet energy. Screens blinked. Old Earth tech, slow and dusty, but it worked. Sarah connected her beacon to the main panel. Alex stood beside her, watching the screens come alive. "What now?" he asked. She didn't answer. She placed her hand on the beacon. Then she spoke, loud and clear, her voice reaching up through wires and satellites, bouncing off the edges of space. "I am Sarah, former soldier of Valerian, betrayer of orders, survivor of fire." She paused. "I am on Earth. I found life here, peace, kindness. They call it weakness. I call it strength." Her voice trembled slightly, but not with fear. "If you come for me, come knowing I will not run." Alex watched the beacon pulse. The message was sent. High above the planet, a dozen ships caught the signal. One of them, the largest, turned. Inside its dark walls, a voice spoke in a strange tongue. "She's calling us." A second voice answered. "Then let's answer." Engines lit, and war came closer. Back at the tower, Sarah sat beside Alex on the roof, watching the night sky. "Do you think it worked?" he asked. "Yes." He looked at her. "You're not afraid anymore, are you?" She shook her head. "No. But you should be." "Why?" She looked at him carefully. "Because you chose to stand beside me. And now, Earth is no longer a bystander." Alex smiled, tired, bruised, but proud. "Then I guess I'm all in." Far above them, a red light blinked across the sky. A ship had entered the atmosphere, bigger than any before. The final one. The sky cracked open. It didn't roar. It whispered. A strange sound, like something tearing through silk, slow and deep, rolled across the clouds. People looked up. At first, they saw nothing. Then, they saw it. A shape too big for a plane, too silent for a storm. A ship, long and black like a shadow from a forgotten god, slowly passing over the earth. Sarah knew its name. The Judicator, her old command ship. It had come for her. Alex stood beside her on the rooftop of the tower, his chest rising fast. He had never seen anything so large, so quiet, and so alive. "How big is that thing?" he asked. "Big enough to erase this city," she said, "and everyone in it." "Why hasn't it fired?" "They're waiting." "For what?" She turned toward him, her eyes sharp. "For me to surrender." He stared at her. "Are you going to?" Sarah looked back up at the sky. "I don't know yet." Inside the Judicator, the air was colder than ice. Rows of armored figures stood silent as statues, weapons in hand. In the center, a tall commander watched the screen. His face was hidden behind a mask of polished silver. He studied the earth. One life form mattered to him. Sarah. His voice came like metal scraping bone. "Prepare the drop unit." "Target?" asked a soldier. He paused. "Her." "And the human." On the ground, the wind shifted. The beacon Sarah had activated began to spark. Its light changed, from blue to red. "They're jamming it," she said. "We've lost the signal." Alex looked at the sky again. A smaller object broke from the main ship. Falling. Fast. "Drop unit incoming," she muttered. "This is it." Alex turned to her. "We can run." Sarah shook her head. "We stand." He looked into her eyes. They were calm. But behind the calm fire, the drop pod crashed into the earth like a second meteor. Dirt exploded into the air. Trees fell. The ground shook. A black door hissed open. 2 soldiers stepped out. Not like Sarah. Heavier armor. No voices. Just motion. Then, the commander. He walked with the weight of judgment. No wasted steps. No fear. Sarah stepped forward to meet him. Alex followed, but she held out her hand. "No, this part is mine." He stopped. Her voice changed when she spoke to the commander, cold and sharp. "You should have let me die. You should have followed your orders," he replied. "I chose life." You chose treason. They stood face to face. You came to destroy me, she said. No, he said. I came to remind you who you are. I remember, she said, and raised her weapon. A silence. Then chaos. The fight was fast. Brutal. She moved like lightning, blade in hand. Armor cracked but still strong. The soldiers struck first, but she was faster. One fell. Then the other. Only the commander remained. They circled each other. Past versus present. Law versus freedom. He struck. She blocked. She struck. He bled. They were not speaking anymore. They were remembering. Each blow was a memory. Each cut, a story. Alex watched from a distance. He wanted to help, but knew he couldn't. This wasn't his fight. Until a second pod landed behind him. More soldiers. Coming for him now. He raised his flare gun. A joke against plasma rifles. But he didn't run. Sarah had taught him something. Even humans can be warriors when they choose to be. He fired. Not at them. At the fuel tank near the beacon. It exploded. Smoke. Fire. Noise. Enough to blind the attackers. Enough to give her the edge. She saw it happen. And in that moment she stopped holding back. The final blow came with no words. Her blade struck clean through the commander's chest. He dropped to his knees. No mercy, he whispered. Sarah looked down at him. I learned that from you. And let him fall. The remaining soldiers paused. Looked at each other. Then dropped their weapons. Not from fear, but from respect. The judicator did not fire. Turned. It left. She had won. Not by killing, but by standing. Later, as the sun rose, Sarah and Alex sat on a rock near the edge of a quiet lake. The earth was still. The sky, blue. Smoke still rose in the distance, but the danger was gone. For now, Alex handed her a piece of fruit. She bit it, still not used to the taste. He smiled. So what now? She looked at him, then at the sky. I stay. Here. With you, she said. This world needs defenders. It needs choice. He nodded. We'll build something new. She touched the ground with her hand. Soft soil. Green life. Real. Yes, she said. A new world. And for the first time in her life, the warrior smiled.